Hey guys, it's Dingo here, and I'm happy to announce that I will be talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth starting from today, leading to the 11th of this month when the Final Fantasy EWC event starts. This event is powered by Gidea Gaming, so make sure to give them a follow on X. They are tagged on the post and description of this video. This amazing event will have the Tiny Bronco, Boulevard City, and the Buggy, but the highlight of it all is that the game producer Yoshinori Kitase and director Naoki Hamaguchi will be there in person at the 16th of August. And for this occasion, the event will be live streamed during that day on the Gidea Gaming and Square Enix's Twitch channels. I'll also be covering all the action for you on both my X page and YouTube channel, as well as a big surprise for my subscribers that I'm sure you will all be pretty happy about, so stay tuned. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth released earlier this year. It is one of the most well-received Final Fantasy titles and the most rated mainline Final Fantasy game since 2 decades, making it not only a hit Final Fantasy game, but also one of the best games this year. This game became my all-time favorite even. So what did this game do right to get in the position it is in now? What changed from the past few Final Fantasy titles, and remakes specifically? First and my most important point is the character development. Final Fantasy VII have such an iconic cast that many people know even if they are not necessarily Final Fantasy fans. From villains to protagonists that has stuck with us since the original game in 1997. With remakes released in 2020, we saw the game's potential to recreate those characters and dive deeper into their personalities, making each one of them stand out with their own motives, characteristics, and arcs. Even the voice acting was carefully selected across all the languages, making every one of them feel real and how we would have imagined them if they had voices in the original game and better. Then Rebirth came out with its focus on bonding and the characters being closer to each other than they were in Remake. It wrote the complexity of the humans' emotions and how with love comes conflict and other feelings too, making each moment between the cast important and something that resonates with the player. In my opinion, this is the aspect that made this game. Now to a very obvious point, the gameplay. With how Final Fantasy is aiming to reach a bigger audience while keeping the core audience in mind, VII Rebirth achieved just that by providing the best combat system in any RPG and mixed both action elements and turn-based elements. Remake was the foundation of this brilliant system, but Rebirth somehow managed to elevate it into something bigger and better by adding something called the synergy system. So now not only have your normal action gameplay by hitting square to attack and dodge the enemy attacks or using your ATB to use your abilities and items, now we have the synergy skills and abilities that added so much connection between the characters, which goes well to the game's themes of being about bonds. Don't you love it when the devs stick to a theme and manage to somehow implement that even into gameplay? The biggest jump from Remake to Rebirth or from any offline Final Fantasy title, the exploration. Exploration Rebirth is the best a Final Fantasy has to offer. We never thought we would see proper towns in a Final Fantasy game since we entered the HD era in 2009 with Final Fantasy XIII. But here we are, we have a world that is full of towns, chocobos you can ride, and mini games everywhere, making every corner of this world worth poking at. And just by going to different regions, you can notice how each region is very different in its atmosphere than the other, making the world feel real and coherent. Like for example, when you go to Cosmo Canyon, it's different than Junon, but also Junon is different than Nibelheim's gloomy atmosphere. This is how a world should feel like in a video game, vast and varied. Now to the game's content, the beef of it. This game feels like it is the Final Fantasy experience. And what do I mean by that? It is the Final Fantasy game that has every Final Fantasy element you want. Party members at each of them offer something different, both in terms of gameplay or the plot, towns and minigames like I mentioned previously, or even the over-the-top crazy moments like fighting in an alternative dimension with an over-the-top boss design that is bigger than your TV. It feels like it is the ultimate Final Fantasy experience that we've been looking for, and I'm wondering how well Part 3 is going to top that up. Now to the nature of this project. When we usually hear the word remake in any work or media, we would mostly think it's the same experience of the original, just high resolution, new music, and new bits in the story here and there, making the experience for the most part dry and empty of any surprises. And then it just depends on how the gameplay is modernized, leaving the heavy lifting on that aspect alone. But in this project, this is not the case. It's redefined what a remake is. It even raises the bar higher than any remake by giving us tons of new things, from new gameplay to even new characters and plot that makes the fans look forward to the future. Since while the experience is familiar, but some bits are different, making us confused and not knowing what is awaiting us. What could be causing anxiety amongst the original fans, but that is the nature of things. With anticipation comes anxiety and wonder. Those new bits kept the fans talking, analyzing things even 6 months after the game's release, which is something you will not see in your usual remake works, and I admire the team for that. And with that, this concludes my video for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe because it will mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.